talk about the spring practice, man. And shout out to these are shots from Alex Shepard, man. Got to finally meet Alex. I met him before, but it was kind of like in passing. It was like I knew who he was, but didn't know who he was. But now like we've kind of, I would say, cross paths on X a little bit more because I love his photos. And so when I saw him, I was like, yo, your work's incredible. And it was cool just seeing these guys who you've seen their work. He took some sweet photos of me and Clifford and of Stephen Harris. Beyond grateful, beyond blessed to have that opportunity. But this man needs all the love and all the support he can get. He is a monster with that lens. Just watching him run around to get these shots was just so. A lot of these guys, Dylan All, saw Dylan All too, Zach Alberverdi. I love these guys, man. Like I see these. It's cool because we all work. We're all doing the same thing, and we're always talking through a lens. To see someone and be able to hug them and appreciate what they do, man, it's really cool. So shout out to Alex, man, for these incredible shots from the spring game. I know you guys wanted to see it. We went live. The quality was kind of doo-doo. Didn't have much Wi-Fi. There's some great shots on the Florida football team Twitter page. We'll probably be breaking down some of that stuff with Stephen Harris on Monday. Would love to do that with them because I was trying to slow it down and look at some defensive lines, some O-line things, of how they looked. But let's talk about it. Let's get into the numbers. I'll give you those things, kind of the big takeaways, and then me and Cody got together. We kind of talked about it because we'll have Steven on tomorrow. We'll have Dave on Wednesday to kind of give their perspective of it, of what we all saw. We all watched from different angles. We all look for different things. So kind of a bunch of great perspectives. First big order of things, right? When you look at passing, you've got Harrison Bailey, 29 for 43 for 363 yards and 3 touchdowns. And you're like, oh God, this kid's slinging it. And he did. He looked fantastic. Loved the way they looked, had a great composure in the pocket. They were throwing the ball a lot. The orange team was down very quickly because the blue team was firing all cylinders. And blue team, mind you, was the one squad. Warner went 10 for 23 for 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. And you're like, yeah, this Ada Warner kid ain't got it. I got to tell you, man, that kid can spin it. And I know we kind of joke around, but he's got a great arm. His presence was much, much better. And it wasn't that it was bad before, but I spoke also with someone else who's his quarterback coach who we're going to have on sometime here in the next week. I kind of was, hey, man, like, what do you think? What was the struggles? He's like, look, this kid's come from here to here, man. And he's the kid got a great arm and just needs some more time. And think about it. You got Tramel Jones. You got Harrison Bailey. These guys were all brought in. Aiden Warner is essentially beating those guys out. The fact that he's in the one squad, the 1 seed right now. He looked fantastic yesterday. And I was talking to his coach. I said, look, man, he gives me very Mertz vibes. And he goes, you know what? He kind of does. I go, with a better arm. He goes, yeah, he kind of is. And what I mean by that is his composure, his posture in the pocket, just his ability to feel the game. He looked very cool, looked very calm. Look, we all love Mertz. Mertz had his ups and his downs, but Mertz carried himself like a pro. That's what I loved about Mertz. Just a very cool, calm, collected quarterback, but sometimes can kind of get in his own head and make some mistakes and some hiccups. Aiden Warner never really seemed to, the guy had the memory of a goldfish. Looked unfazed out there. I love seeing it. A lot of drop passes for him. Part of were those. A lot of great play calls, in my opinion. Some were overthrown. Some were a little bit short. But I like where they were. The guys were there. And look, also 2 DBs were kind of locking these guys down. They weren't giving Aiden much of a pocket to throw into. Harrison, mind you, was slinging on the second defense, the younger defense, that had their way with him early. They were kind of giving him some fits early on, and then he got going. But yeah, and we'll get into that second part here in just a minute. But Aiden Warner looked very, very feasible. Now, I say this to tell you because obviously we know DJ Lagway is going to be fine and be rocking and rolling. I was also talking to the quarterback coach. I said, look, man, I know you've been around this team. You've coached a lot of these kids that have come through this or been around this program. I think this, and I talked to Johnny Townsend too. I said, look, I think this quarterback room is in a better place than it was last year, just given the experience that's there. And the upside obviously is much more than what it was. So if DJ comes in there and slings it, you're going to feel really good about it. And here's the thing. A lot of the throws that were missed, you got to think, okay, DJ's going to hit those throws. These guys had all day to throw. Had all day. They had some great blitz packages. I think there's about 2 or 3 sacks from what I remember. It's hard because it's two-hand touch, so sometimes they roll out and they'll call a play a little bit early, so it's hard to get a full gauge on those things. But Aiden Warner threw a great ball. Harrison Bailey's kind of, when he started finding his rhythm, by golly, he found his rhythm. And for 363 yards, 200 of those were to Dolly Wally, Dallin Wilson. Dallin Wilson and Ben Hanks were in an absolute war yesterday. Spring is perfect time to get organized. For me, a top priority is my financial wellness, which feels more important than ever. Thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable. They show me all my subscriptions right in one place and help me easily cancel ones that I forgot I've been paying for. Rocket Money also pulls together all my spending across my different accounts so I can clearly track my spending habits and see where I can cut back. Listen, we're proud to be sponsored and working alongside Rocket Money, as you can tell. Been pumping this for the last couple of days. What's fantastic is you can see all of your subscriptions in one place. Not only that, but if you need to through the app, you can cancel your subscriptions on the spot, and Rocket Money will handle it for you, so you don't have to go through all the hassles and nonsense that those subscriptions typically run you through. It's also your little personal accountant. You can see how much is going out, how much is coming in, where it is going out. The wife's is ordering too much Amazon. You can see what's going on. I keep telling her it doesn't work. I even told her we got Rocket Money. We've got to be well behaved. That doesn't work either. But I'm doing my best I can, boys. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year on all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/hightopsports today. That's rocketmoney.com/hightopsports. I was right there. I saw a couple touchdowns in the corner. It was so fun. We're sitting there, saving Harris, like, all right, throw it to Dallas, throw it to Dallas. And they were intentionally throwing, like, they were trying to get that offense going very quickly. Where on the one squad, they were in the kind of more of that old fashioned. I don't remember who was calling what, because I know Callaway and O'Hara, they were your offensive coordinators. It's going to be interesting because the way that both offenses ran, the blue squad ran how we typically run it, where we're just going to push it down your throat. We're going to run it down your neck and throw when we need to. And they were able to run with ease because Jacoby Jackson had 200 yards, 10 attempts, and 3 touchdowns. Now, he had one kind of like a little bit of a squeaky one where he spun out of a sloppy tackling and broke out. So that was about 80 of it right there. But him and Jaden Ball had themselves a day. And they were just good, healthy runs, great blocks across the board. Wide receivers were blocking, Suderman was blocking. The offensive line, it was one of the cleanest pockets that I've seen. Last year, going back to, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but that's just how these games go. I'm trying to remember everything that I saw. Last year, it was a sluggish start. It was slow. The game was 10-13. You just didn't feel like things were kind of clicking. And I chalk it up to being a spring game. I chalk it up to a multitude of things. Speaking to how the rotation of things, how everything was running yesterday in regards to the NIL, just the flow of the day, the game was ran and managed at a different level. When we watched Florida football, I remember last year a bunch of times you watch the Florida game, and then you go and watch like the LSU and Bam and these other teams. You're like, man, these guys, you could just see the difference on the football field. Now Florida, I feel like kind of elevated that towards the end of the year, but early on we didn't have it. And what we saw in the spring game, now going back, you saw kind of those things translate. This thing from the get-go, from Jump Street, Aiden Warner gets the ball and drives on the football field first play of the game. That's not, out of all the spring games I've been to, we haven't done that. We have not looked that efficient. And we had Graham Mertz back there at that time. A lot of it has to do with this line, man. That he is in his bag right now, bag of tricks, him being Billy Napier, because both quarterbacks had time. Both quarterbacks look calm. They felt good. And you're going to argue, Sean, it's practice. They're not. No, these boys are coming in there hot. Look, they're not going to get hit, but they were blitzing. LJ McCray got himself a sack, I think, on Aiden Warner. Great call off the edge. So, again, it's practice. You can't put a lot of weight. My thing, though, is all that considered. Let's say it is practice. Let's say they're not playing at 100%. That's fine. I'm comparing them to the last 2 spring games, and there was just a massive jump of just everything clicking. The talent on the field was at another level. Everywhere you looked, there wasn't necessarily a dry spot, a dry spot or a down spot, if you will, which was very refreshing. Another thing, man. Again, being on the sidelines, I was a little bit closer to these guys than I've ever been, but I've been on the close to the wall. These young men are massive. I mean, by golly, Studervant, Dallas Wilson, Banks. I saw Fletcher Westphal dabbed him up. He looking like an absolute unit right now. At another level, man. It was crazy. I was a little dwarf out there. It was wild, and I loved every bit of it. Just seeing how big these guys were and how physical they were. Miles Graham looked like an absolute beast as well. Loved it. Cormani McClain looked the role. He looked much bigger. Again, the young guys, Ben Hanks and Dallas Wilson. Dallas Wilson, man, I told the quarterback coach, Aiden Warner, I said, look, man, he's getting a lot of Jeremiah Smith comps, and he thought I was crazy. I said, look, man, the kids, we talked about this too on yesterday. I said, who's going to be the breakout guy today? Jaden Ball was last year. Dallas Wilson was what Jaden Ball was last year, and then some. His running routes ability, he had one pass breakup with Ben Hanks. Great defense, loved the little one-on-one. It was a bad throw. Not a horrible throw, not a great throw. Dallas Wilson's a guy, let him go get it. He gave Ben Hanks an opportunity, and Ben Hanks took advantage of it. So I love that it was like a perfect little bit of a gamemanship, but Dallas was trying to get in there. Ben Hanks kind of outmuscled him. Balls 4 inches, 5 inches higher, and a little more ass behind it. Dye Wallace got it to touchdown. It was a little corner throw early on in the game, but they went right back to him and got it to him again. I loved a lot of four wides, a lot of corner plays. They were having their way with it. Some may say, hey, it was the defense, but it just was a very clean football. They were just and again, in these games, usually defense has success because they're kind of running around. The offense is clicking. Not the case in this either. The offense was in a rhythm on both sides. The Orange took a little bit. The Harrison Bailey team took a little bit, and then it kind of got into a little bit of a fun little game. A lot of great passes, things like that. Also, too, man, I know this is kind of crazy, but their punter from Michigan, kid's got a leg, bro. Kid has a cannon. Punters are people too. Shaw Crawshaw, let him know. Punters people too. Kid has a cannon for a leg. I was sitting next to Johnny Townsend when he booted one. He's like, dude, that kid's got a monster of a leg. I mean, I think it was like a 60-yard punt with hang time. I tied my shoes and I got boots on. But the time that it was up in the air, even Harris like, oh, that thing was up there. Like nobody was taking it back. Everybody was sitting there waiting for the ball to come down, and it was a 60-yard boot. I mean, it was nuts. I can tell lies because y'all weren't there to see it, but I can tell you he punted at 8 yards if I wanted to. But it was a fantastic punt back in his own end zone and was able to flip the field very healthily with that. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Again, the running backs had a day as we thought they would. They looked good. We didn't talk much about the trenches because that's how good the O-line was. You were able to see the talent on the field from the wide receiver perspective, and those guys do things. The quarterback, the pocket was very clean. We heard a lot last year, muddy pocket, muddy pocket. That was a common theme from Napier in these pressers. Like, yeah, we had a muddy pocket, didn't give those guys much time. Mertz didn't have much time last year. Loved every minute of it. Bryce Lovett, I think he won an award for best offensive lineman through this spring camp, which we know Bryce Lovett stepping into that right tackle position. That's got to make you feel good with someone like a Jake Slaughter and Austin Barber as well. Najee Harris, he didn't play. I saw him. He had a little boot on. I said, hey, what's good? He's like, no, it's good. This is just precautionary. He's like, just a little sprain. So he was fine, though. Dapped him up. It was good to see him. Also, Nashawn Montgomery. He was great. He looked fantastic. He was having himself a day. Then I don't know if he got hit or what happened, but he ran by. He rolled up his wrist, I think. And I was a little nervous because Napier was talking to him when they were walking off the field. Then he came back with ice on it. And then he had a little sprain thing on it during autographs, Cody told me. I don't think it's serious because the fact that he came back out with ice on it very quickly afterwards, I think maybe just jammed it or rolled up on it. But if there's a room we could take a beat, it's in that room. Vernell Brown was looking good. I mean, we knew what we had, but seeing it and confirming it was what was exciting for me. Again, the secondaries, those DBs, Ben Hanks, Lagonza Hayward, Stubbs, they looked the part, boys. They looked the part. I'm really excited to see how those things are going to go. Didn't see much tackling. There was a big hit. Aaron Childs leveled Abrams. Abrams had a little of a rough day, kind of expressed his feelings on Twitter after the fact. But all in all, it was by far the best spring game. And I mean, obviously a little biased there, but best spring game in just how things were rolling. It was very well organized. It didn't seem like there was questions of who was doing what. I mean, everything was just firing all cylinders. Again, from what I could tell, we'll have multiple perspectives. Everyone will have their thought opinion. I'm always a little more optimistic, but I was very ecstatic with how things went and looking forward to, more things coming out from this spring camp. And I can't wait for this season. I mean, I couldn't wait before, and again, I want to reiterate, I know people were upset that it wasn't on TV and that DJ wasn't playing. And I want DJ to get the practice reps, but I loved seeing those guys because that's a big component that if DJ was to go down, I don't want to feel completely the season is lost. That's how I felt yesterday. I was like, this team excites me and DJ's not even playing. I was like, this team can go and hold its own more than the last two teams that I saw the last 2 years. And I know it seems crazy because they're playing each other, but I'm telling you, I have watched the last 3 spring games. More than that, but in the Napier era, this was the cleanest, most precise, most sound spring game I have seen. By far. Now, where does that compare to everybody else? I don't know. I don't have that comparison. Nothing was on TV. From what I've seen, from the progress of Billy Napier, from the progress of certain position groups, night and day. And I'm not pumping smoke. Good thing is, there's not many people that were there to just argue with me. No, I'm just kidding. There's plenty of people. You can ask. Look, maybe there's different perspectives. There's going to be plenty of different perspectives, but I felt very positive after that game.